let me tell you, when I went back and reread it, I was like, I don't know if I remembered all of this stuff. Maybe I but
Delays can really
again,
hurt.
but I was like, again, it was like always so delayed, so it was just so far in between. I was forgetting everything, but reading it all at once, I was like, oh, she's got this Brazilian river god daddy, so she's actually like half goddess. She's got some superpowers of her own she hasn't tapped into yet. Her mom left the mascara, ran into these girls. I was like, okay, I see the vision. I'm here. That's my
Mm,
girl. I'm a rock with her. I'm gonna stand beside her.
all right.
But I will rate
Good
this
luck.
issue. I will. All right, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another relaunch. I am Keenan. Oh wait, no, I gotta be somebody else. Ooh. Oh. In honor of her wonderful debut this week in Catwoman number 41, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, I will be Onyx Adams.
Ooh, love her. Do you know how many times I watched that clip of her fighting in that episode of Young Justice?
She was hot. That whole scene
It's
was
like,
hot though.
oh
Like when
my
the lights
gosh.
went out,
Yes.
cinematography.
I mean, wow. She was beating that girl ass. And I loved every
I loved
moment.
it. They really did her right,
I
and they've
loved
been
it.
doing her right in a lot of cartoons though. So it's like I really appreciate that.
You know what? I'll be another badass girl. Let's be Thena.
Mm.
You know?
Movie
Oh,
Thena
you don't like her?
or comic Thena?
Well, movie Thena.
Um,
Movie Thena's
okay.
Angelina Jolie. That's Angie. You don't like Angelina Jolie?
I like Angelina Jolie. I don't like know if I like movie Thena though.
That's fair. That movie.
Was a movie. I think that actually the more time that goes on, the more I realize I don't like it at all.
Oh, how-
Like I really enjoy Fastos and like the hell him and his little gay family. That was cool and he was
yeah.
smart, but everything else, I'm just like, eh.
I did like the fight stuff at the end.
But that anyway, I don't want to talk about that movie. I'm gonna get upset.
Yeah.
How are you this week?
I'm fantastic. I am work has been all right.
Okay.
It's just work or whatever. But I've been pretty good. I have been playing Elden Ring.
So I haven't
Uh,
gotten it yet. I've been hearing a lot of good things. So I'm still trying to decide. So I don't know. I don't know if we talked about this already, but I like an open world game, but not like
mm,
too open. And to give
well,
you an example of
this
that,
is
something
very
I
open.
really like. See, that's what I'm saying. I like something like a Dragon Age
Oh,
Inquisition,
I
like
love that
open
game.
world, but you still got your boundaries and everything. Maybe if you hit like a certain point, the game will like you won't be able to move anymore. You'll hit an invisible wall. Whereas something like The Witcher 3
Ooh,
specifically, is draining to me. That's too open. Where
I'm,
I'm like,
I'm only
you
like
just
5% into that game because I had to stop. I was like, I need
it's
to
too
break. I
much.
don't know.
It's too much. I can't.
Elden Ring is kind of like that, except I don't know. I'm just really out here living my Dungeons and Dragons fantasy.
Okay.
And truly, I got my two swords. I got my like little spirit wolves. We out here making it work.
Okay. That's
I just found
fair.
a bow. I'm out here making it work.
Mm. Are
So if
you're a
anybody's
bow and arrow guy?
I am in like that world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely a bow and arrow guy. Give me a bow. I don't really like to be in no matter what universe. I'm not really trying to be up into the fight too close. But if you get close to me, I got my swords to do what I gotta
No,
do.
give me all that. Give me like some little small daggers. Give me some knives. Give me a little shield. Maybe I'm getting up in there. I don't like two-handed weapons though. They're awful.
I do like a bow staff. I do like a bow staff.
Yeah, I guess a staff
I'm
is fine. I can deal with that.
I'm a fan of a staff.
But like I feel like
How are
even
you?
with the staff, like you get like a different type of movement than you would with like a giant long sword.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really
I'm
like a big sword. No.
awful,
Like a two-handed
awful.
sword thing. Nah.
hmm But I am good. The weather is finally like breaking again here in the city, so it's getting warmer a little bit more consistently. So everybody's outside, but it's fine. I gotta go buy some shorts because this is gonna be like a shorts summer. Short
Yes, hot girl
shorts.
season. Yes.
Okay, very shorts,
I love
thighs out, legs out, not the feet because that's disgusting. But like,
only
yes.
Don't yuck
Hmm.
people's yum.
Okay, so we'll get into the comics for the week. And we'll start up with Eternals, the Heretic #1. And so I'm not gonna lie to you, I actually did not read this issue because once again, Comixology has stopped the bag. And
Oh
it
wow.
wasn't in my pull list for the week, and I just haven't gone back to search for it yet. But it comes from Kieran Gillen, and who's on the art?
The artist was Ryan Bodenheim and Edgar Salazar.
Okay, so I know you read this. I wanted to read it because it was about Thanos, right?
Yeah, it was actually more so about Uranos, who is like Thanos's technically his grand uncle, but by the end of it, he says, "No, you're going to be like my grandfather." And
Sorry.
Uranos is well. This story actually opens with Thanos throwing Valken of Polaria, who is Druig's father, like into jail, and basically just reminding you how badass that Thanos is. Because one thing I will appreciate about this Eternals run is that it's really injected like more life back into Thanos. I
Yeah.
did think that for a while he got a little bit too big and too many appearances, probably because of the MCU, where he didn't feel menacing anymore. But
Yeah.
I feel like now he is like very very cutthroat in this. Um, and he learns from Druig that his great grandfather, who was like this like destroyer basically, he's in
hmm
his cell. Do you want to go talk to him? They have a whole conversation. It's this very like meeting of egos and a lot of shade fest between each other and dick measuring. And
hmm
Uranos basically comes back and tells him the story of how he was out there taking out deviants and any excess deviation, where he came up with the idea that any deviation is excess deviation, and he feels that he needs to get rid of all of it. He
hmm
brought this to the patriarchs of the Eternals, who were basically his brothers, and they disagreed because they felt like that's genocide. Well, he didn't really care, so
Naturally.
he went to this place and like got rid of all these deviants, let all the other deviants on uh, Uranus know that that was his plan. Everybody, let's get ready. Some people ran away. Some people did kind of join him, but ultimately he did lose. Um,
Mm.
and he ended up basically in prison. By the end of it, he gives Thanos this key that will basically destroy the machine if ever he wants to, because Uranus wants to use the machine to like get rid of everything that isn't an eternal. He believes
Yeah.
that like all of that is deviation. So like we need to get rid of all of it. Um, so he gave him this key and he told him, I'm giving you this because you are a member of my line who I don't feel like isn't a disappointment.
Yeah.
So go off and do
Okay.
something. So it was a
That's
really
good.
great issue. Very like world building, and you learn more about like the Eternals, and like I said, it really injected a lot more of the like the menacing kind of scary factor of Thanos that I felt like was really missing. I really enjoyed the art
Yeah.
too.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. What would you rate it?
I would rate this issue honestly a 4 out of 5. I really did
Mm.
enjoy like all of the world building that was going on with the Eternals and kind of what it was going towards, as far as like it hinted at some stuff with Judgment Day,
hmm
because I know that in the event coming out this summer, Judgment Day, the Eternals are going after the X-Men or the mutants,
Yeah.
and in this, he talks about how like they are. He wants to get rid of any kind of deviation. Like so, instantly that triggered in my head, mutant would be a
Mutants.
deviant. So like, we're gonna
Mm.
see go something going on there.
Okay. Judgment Day feels like an Eternals event to me, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it is kind of like more of an Eternals event than anything else. I know that Gillen in a recent interview said that they will be the villains of
hmm
Judgment Day, and usually when you have something like that, big group like that being like the villains, you kind of build stuff around them. So
Yeah, it's definitely their
it's kind
time.
of
Good
building
for
up.
them though.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they've never really like had a big event centered around them or like gotten that due. So it's like everybody gets their like
Uh,
time. That's cool.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it up, Eternals. All right, and moving on. Next up, we have Catwoman 41, and this comes from Teeny Howard and artist Nico Leon. And this is a fun little book. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay. You keep saying.
Queenie Howard is doing what she needs to do. All right.
Okay.
So this issue it brings back Onyx Adams, who is a vigilante that used to work for the League of Shadows in the comics, and she is like has this reputation of being the only vigilante that Batman, or the only like crime fighter that Batman allows in Gotham outside of anybody that's in his regular entourage. Like there's even like a little part about that. Catwoman says it to somebody. So Catwoman is hanging out with this dude Valmont, who killed some people, and she's feeling all apprehensive about it, and she's like, this guy's a killer, this isn't what I do anymore, this isn't what I want to be about. And he's just like, whatever. And he's giving the people he killed their dead bodies over to the crime fighter, not the crime fighter, the criminal Flamingo, because he's like a cannibal, so he's going to eat their dead bodies. And Catwoman's like, I don't get down with this, so she tries to leave, but and there's this like little monologue part where she's saying, I know men, he should be following me right now, what's going on, where is he? So when she goes back to the spot, we see Miss Onyx Adams has jumped onto the scene, and she's beating Valmont down. And it's like, yes. And so basically that just kind of starts up their team up for the issue, because Onyx is like, Catwoman, what are you doing hanging out with these guys? And that brings Catwoman to tell her about the story of like the mob boss and how he's killing the strippers and the girls, and she's trying to get back at him. So they go on some adventures together to try and fix some stuff. They beat up some guys in a boxing ring to hit back at the villain who killed the girls. Black Mask appears, and he's telling everybody like, we need to kill Catwoman right now. She's not a real threat to us. Let's just get her out the way. And it's just like a fun little issue where they're doing. The art is really nice. I enjoy Nico Leon's stuff. It's got a bit of a cinematic feel to it, I want to say. The faces are really well done, and Selina's like nice. She is once again just trying to, I guess, again, I feel like with the most previous run, she built up this life with herself as kind of being like the queen pin of what everything,
Okay.
and having her little group of people in the alley, and her cat people and her entourage, and doing all of that stuff, and just being that. And so this is a little bit different, and it's taking her on a new route, and like in this new route she's trying to, I guess, figure herself out again. It's like, okay, like I'm back, who am I protecting now, like what's my place in Gotham, what am I doing? So it's a nice little reset to her, but it's like really all about the women here. Like, I gotta protect these girls. I gotta make sure these people are safe. Like, these men are doing what they want to do, and like, we can't have that. And like,
Absolutely
I
not.
appreciate that for this run. I'd give this like a 3.5 out of 5. I'm not gonna lie to you. It does have some of Howard's usual quirks, where
Mm.
every now and again, like, it's, did I miss a page, or
Yeah. A lot of off panel.
um, it was just like, I don't know how we got from here to here, but whatever, like we're having a good time. Like, but I'll say it's getting less and less. You can really tell that she is like working on those things in her writing. um and the dialogue is not, I think this book also helps because it has narration boxes, so you get a
Oh
lot of
yes, we love
Selena kind
those.
of like monologuing, so you get a better sense of to like what's going on in her mind, and like how that's affecting her decisions and things like that. And it was just really cool to see Onyx again as well. Again, she's a character we haven't seen in a while. She's a character that I really, really do like. I think she's always had a lot of potential. She leaves at the end of this issue. She kind of tells Selena, okay, I've watched you. You know what you're doing. You seem to be in a good spot. Keep doing whatever it is you need to do. But I'm hoping that she pops back up. I know next arc Harley Quinn is supposed to appear. And so
Oh, fun.
if we can make that like a new little Gotham thing, that'd be fun to do.
Okay. I
Yeah.
do like them teaming up. I always like their relationship because it's not like super best friendy. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But like it's like a
Mutual.
girl. Yeah.
Like she's a girl I know. We go to the club every now and again. It's a good time.
Right. Super good.
And next up we have Wonder Woman number 785. This comes from Michael Conrad and Becky Cloonan writing, and then Rosie Campe is doing the art. And this is a continuation of the Trial of the Amazons event that's going on. This is part 3, and it is. Did you read it?
I did not. I did not. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm going to wait for Trial of the Amazons. I think for me, it might be better, like as a whole.
Wow. Okay.
It's missing a little bit. It's missing some things for me.
Okay. Well, before I get to this issue, what is it missing?
You know, it's beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
The girls look great.
They do.
And I do love the world building. I love a good world building, especially when it's additive to something. So I do appreciate that, like they're adding the new tribe with Yara and everything. But they're doing a lot of talking, and and that's great. But for me, it's not
you want some
exciting.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to be like fighting the way people think they were going to be fighting. It's going to be trials and contests and like some bow and arrow shooting probably. We might get like a little battle here and there, but I mean they'll probably eventually fight. There's something coming from Doom's doorway. It seems like that's basically the big thing of this issue is that Diana is like all upset about her mom dying, obviously, which is I think still a scheme set up by Todd, but whatever.
Stunt.
Yes, very much giving that. And so she's kind of like mad. She's like, we need to do this, and I'm going to use my lasso on everybody, and I'm going to do whatever I want. And Nubia's like, slow your roll, girl. No, you're not. She was like, slow your roll, girl. You're not going to do whatever you want. Like, we still got a contest. We got a way of doing this. Cassie is going to like investigate it on the side and some things like that. And then throughout that, we just kind of go through the different Amazons, selecting whoever they want to be on their teams for their champion for the trial. So obviously the Esquicitas, who are like the new girls with Yar and everything, they pick her because they see there's a Oracle on their team, and they're like, I have the vision, you are the future. I personally don't think she's going to win, obviously, but we got something else going on. Let her have her moment. Donna Troy, she has decided to throw her name in the ring. However, she's going to be doing it for the Bana Migdal. Originally, they were going to have Artemis be their champion, but Queen Faruka pulls her to the side, and she's like, hold on, girl. We got new developments. And they go outside. And Donna's like, yeah. She's like, I'll fight for y'all. What's up? And I was just like, okay, I'm here for that. Which is like, I think a really cool thing for Donna. I know history has not been kind to Donna Troy. Okay, it's just
history has not been good to any Titan.
Man, that like it's kind of cursed a little bit. I feel bad. But, she has been, since the New 52, when they brought her back, originally they brought her back, she was like magically created to be a Wonder Woman villain. They like made her kind of look like Donna, but she was just the evil girl. Eventually, they scrapped that. I don't know, during Abnett's Titans run, he tried to do some things that reworked like the history of her in there with like the new stuff. Basically, they made it so Donna and them like lied to her about everything, and she didn't know that she was created by the whale, and she thought she had all this history with the team. But Donna comes back and is like, Diana comes back and is like, well, that's not true. But throughout all of that, one of the big things has been that the Amazons treat Donna like shit. Like, they are not nice to her at all. And so it's like, it was really cool to see her kind of be like, I'll fight for somebody else. And I don't really know. I've seen some people take it different ways. Some people say it's because like she's fighting. She really believes in like all of the Amazons being together. Personally, me knowing Donna's history, I read it like, nah, she found a crew that she really banged with. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go stand over there. But
she's really attached to like to Themyscira and the island anyway, back in that Titans era, like when she was a Wonder Girl.
Even when she like was Wonder Girl, it was like, again, she was gone most of the time. She would pop up every now and again to talk about how she was an Amazon and she did this, but like her and Donna have never really been super close. Back in the day, they were back in the 80s. But like in these newer ages, they've never really been that close. They actually don't get along that well. Donna's kind of cold to her, so it's like I prefer it this way anyway.
Personally, I've always enjoyed that as like a Wonder Girl like trope. That none of the Wonder Girls like Diana.
Okay, because it makes sense. But you know, so that's all going on. While that's happening, stuff is happening at Doom's doorway. The Amazons who were protecting it, they get killed. Something's trying to break out and come. So it's like I don't even know if we'll have a champion. Themyscira, they end up picking Philippus as their champion for the contest. And at the end of it, Diana comes in and she's like, I want to enter the contest, but not for any, like one nation. I want to represent all Amazons and blah, blah, blah. So.
See what I mean? So I'm going to catch this later.
It's like she's herself, and you know, honestly, that might be a good thing for her. I will say I recently went back and I've reread Joelle Jones's Wonder Girl series, and you know, I think even when it was coming out, I was like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot here of what's going on, but like reading those 7 issues all in one setting, it's a lot better. And you get a little bit more sense of just kind of like Yara and like what's going on. There are still some things in there that are a little like, what's happening? But again, I feel like it was all supposed to be kind of because of this. There's still like this vague destiny for Yara. We know that she's important. We know that she's supposed to do something. I don't really know what it is just yet. But that was being
talking about it. Even in that Trial of Amazons issue, it was like, oh, Yara there's this great destiny for her. She's like this thing everybody's looking for, but they won't say what that is.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, but whatever. But like, I get it. We're building a story, and I think that's, you know, it's interesting to read comics in that type of medium. It's like you need something that can come out month to month to keep people engaged, but it's also got to be like a part of this big grand story. I think a big thing that did hurt that Wonder Girl series was it was delayed so much. But I know they said Joelle like some family issues, and she was having some stuff going on. And personally, I'm a Joelle fan, so I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna be cool.
The art, she's easily one of my favorite artists.
I don't know if you saw the preview for the next issue of Trial of Amazons. That's the Wonder Girl issue where she was introducing the Esquicitas. My sister.
That little baby Esquicita.
My sister.
I loved her.
My sisters. Yes. And I'm really into the Esquicitas. Like their designs, their designs are so cool and so hot. And just like they're those girls. And like, I don't know, I'm really into like the Brazilian Amazons.
Yeah, they're hot.
It's so different. Like even the Bon and Migdal, they're supposed to be in Egypt hanging out because they left, but they still have a lot of those Greek mythology tropes attached to them because they were supposed to be like specifically separate, like just Themyscirans who left. And so it's like they still have a lot of that. Like from what we see of the Esquicitas, it seems like they are like Amazons created in Brazil by like a Brazilian goddess who, like, from what I saw of the preview, she drew on the power of the well. When she heard about it from Gaia, she was like, oh, this sounds cool. Let me use some of that well stuff and I'll make my little group down here. So a lot of their ties still seem to be into like Brazilian mythology. And I was like, oh, that makes them very different. And I was like, I'm excited to get to know more of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Yara can have like another Wonder Girl spinoff after this thing. Like, and get more of that.
And I hope when we do, because and again, so this was one of the things that I reread, that her dad was a river god in Brazil. And so, like, I was like, let me tell you, when I went back and reread it, I was like, I don't know if I remembered all of this stuff. Maybe.
Delays can really hurt.
But I was like, again, it was like always so delayed. So it was just so far in between. I was forgetting everything. But reading it all at once, I was like, oh, she's got this Brazilian river god daddy. So she's actually like half goddess. She's got some superpowers of her own she hasn't tapped into yet. Her mom left the mascara and ran into these girls. I was like, okay, I see the vision. I'm here. That's my girl. I'm a rock with her. I'm going to stand beside her.
All right.
But I will rate this issue a 4 out of 5. Honestly, I enjoyed the art. I thought it was like really strong. I think the continuation of the trial was really well done. I know you said there's a lot of talking. There is a lot of talking. But I think what they were saying was interesting here. So it didn't matter. I do think in the next issue we're kind of going to get to the actual competition. No, we're not. That's a lie. It's a Wonder Girl issue, so we're probably going to learn more about the Esquicitas, and then after that, we'll probably start getting to the actual competition, and then have them start doing some stuff. So I'll let you know to tell you if you tap back in.
All right, we're gonna see later. Maybe I could tap back in later.
Maybe. All right, and our final book of the week that we'll be discussing is Avengers number 54, and this comes from Jason Aaron and Juan Frigeri. And I know you're not reading this, and I know a lot of people are reading it. Actually, that's not true. I think a lot of people are reading Avengers. I think they're just not admitting that they're reading Avengers. And, like, that's fine.
That's true.
Walk in the light, people. It's okay. It's good over here. I'm sorry. The books are good. The Avengers books are good. And I know, like, people have their issues with Aaron. And I'll say the thing that's really tying this issue down is he uses the Phoenix again. And Aaron and the Phoenix is like
why is he so obsessed with that bird?
It is like not good at all. I mean, and the thing is, it's not even that it's not good. It's actually good if you just like don't care or you don't know about if you don't know about the history of the Phoenix and like what it does and what it represents, or if you don't really care about anything that Thor is going on outside of the Avengers, or if you don't care about anything Echo's going on outside of the Avengers, like I'm pretty sure it's hot to you. It's these two people with like these big fiery powers blasting stuff coming together. There's a scene where she's like, because Aaron is like determined to have us believe that the Phoenix is Thor's mother. And it is so
nobody wants
sick. It is so sick. It is like, leave us alone. Like nobody wants this. But so like
nobody wants it.
The Avengers are flying back to the mountain. It's Captain Marvel, Starbrand, and Steve, and he's saying how he can't hear anything from the tower. Next thing you know, they get attacked by some of those alternate reality Masters of Evil. It's the Phoenix Girl and like this alternate reality Thor, and they're like kind of beaten. But Thor and Phoenix Echo show up, and they all start fighting. And she's like, Thor, you need to wake up the fire inside of you, and like know who you are. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. And he does some blast. He's like, I'm Firestorm, and it's like,
oh no.
Like nobody wants to see this. But like when you think about, again, like if you don't care nothing about Thor, the Phoenix, any of that, it looks hot. You got this lightning guy shooting in this like lightning fire blast with his hammer and all this stuff, and it's like
it probably looks cool.
It's comics.
Yeah.
It's what superheroes do. So in that regard, it's really interesting. But nonetheless, and then we get back to the destroyed tower because that has been beaten back by that team of Black Panther, Namor, and Jane Foster Valkyrie with the Deathlock. They've been beaten back by the Kid Thanos and the alternate reality Doctor Doom. She's like, oh, I've got to like operate on Deathlock right now because he's dying. And we go back to those two, and they are meeting with Mephisto because Mephisto was also working with this group of Masters of Evil, and they're like trying to get their stuff together. I really do like Jason Aaron's Doom, even if this is an alternate reality version. Like it just feels like a Doom that is like exactly what Doom sounds like, and I really appreciate that. And he uses some magic powers, and he does his stuff there. Valkyrie has connected Deathlock's body to the Celestial Tower that the Avengers take place in. And the teams all kind of come together at this point, and they see that like the Starbrand baby has grown up a little bit more. She seems to be an adolescent girl, but she still seems to think that she's a baby. It seems like she makes some comment about how she just got a little bit taller. And because Carol said something to her about how she changed, and she's like, I didn't change. She's like, I just got a little bit taller. So it's like, I don't know what's going to be going on with that. It's going to be interesting. I hope he turns her back into a baby, honestly. I prefer the baby.
Is Starbrand going to like stick?
I don't think so. It kind of feels like she might burn out.
Okay.
It's sad though, because this hot. Like, but again, that's why she should have stayed a baby. Because like that taller baby running around beating people up, cussing everybody out, it was hot.
That does sound funny.
It was like she was like going off on Carol in the most recent issue, calling her like a half breed.
Oh no. That's funny.
It's like because kids are mean, and so like that's what you'd expect. So
that's funny.
Yeah, the issue itself was fun. I probably would also give this a like 3.5 out of 5. I think from a superhero aspect, of like comic book, big, just like epic thing that's happening, this is very good. I think when I kind of start to get a little bit more into like the characters that I like and what's going on with them, that kind of takes it down for me again. I don't need Thor to do anything with the Phoenix ever.
Yeah,
ever. I don't need Echo to do anything with the Phoenix ever.
It sounds like Aaron just be doing shit.
And it's also weird that he would use Echo in the sense because he could have just used Firebird. Like there's literally scenes of Echo and Thor together, like making blast and like standing together and talking about having your fit. Like he used to do that with Firebird back in the day.
Oh. Whatever happened to her?
Man.
She became a nun.
No, what? Why she gotta be a nun?
Wasn't she like really religious?
She was really religious. And so, you know, and that's also the thing that like gets me. It's like you can bring up that whole like mystical cleansing fire thing with Firebird. She was like super religious. She had a strong Catholic belief. That's one of the reasons why her and Thor got along so much, because he was a god. And they would like talk all these philosophical things, and he kind of brought her to like having to face a reality of like what a god is and like kind of how they can be. And like he would just like have someone who was like, oh, I don't have anyone who kind of like believes in anything to talk to about stuff, and you're that. And they were just really close, and like, oh my gosh, this would have been the perfect role for her.
Oh, that's interesting.
She's the fire. She's literally a firebird.
Oh, well,
you can make her god. I think I'm getting in relaunch territory. We're gonna save that.
I see.
Okay. But yeah, I think people should pick up Avengers. It's fun. And those are the comics of the week. Let's take a little break and then we'll come back.
Let's do it.
The sun can't decide if it wants to stay hidden or not.
Oh no. It's getting cloudy out there?
It's getting cloudy. They said it was supposed to rain today, but it didn't. It's been like sunny and hot, but now the clouds are just coming in. But it's like, it's fine, whatever. I'm good either way, as long as it stays warm.
I know that's right. Keep it warm. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the panel section of the show. And this week, I wanted to take a little bit of a step to the side and talk about one of my favorite energy blasting, elemental characters, and that is Mr. Sunfire, Shiro Yoshida. And he's been kind of having a little bit of a moment right now in the X-Men issues, but I wanted to just give like a little spotlight on him. And my first introduction to Shiro was probably like a lot of people's, which was that giant size issue when everybody eventually got to that issue. And he was, a part of the original new group with Storm and Colossus and Banshee.
I mean, was he?
He didn't want to be. So Shiro's personality is very headstrong, if you will, to say anything. Say the last, he is very he has an ego about him. And when he joined the X-Men, he got called by Xavier to help join the X-Men, and to save the original 05 from Krakoa, but he was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this team. Like afterwards, after they saved everyone, it was, hey, let's join the X-Men. But he said no, like, I don't want to be a part of this like little gang y'all got going on.
Because he was like really loyal to Japan.
Yes, he's very like anti-American, even though his dad was a United Nations ambassador, and he was like, his dad was more like uplifting about American things, like he wasn't anti-American, but that didn't matter to Shiro. He did not see him for the US. I mean, was he wrong? To be honest.
I hate America.
And yeah, so like outside of the X-Men, he was pretty much like a Japanese hero, and he did like a bunch of different kind of missions and stuff out there on his own as Sunfire. His uncle was the one who kind of persuaded him to be Sunfire. His uncle ended up being a villain, and of course, tragedy strikes. His uncle killed his dad, and Sunfire saw it. Of course, the greedy uncle did that. He saw that happen, so he ended up like killing his uncle.
He has a cousin too, like a girl, and she was on the X-Men for a little bit.
Yeah, she was Sunfire also, but spelled differently. She's got similar powers to him. I don't really know whatever happened to her.
I remember, wasn't there a version of her in that Exiles Judd Winnick run however many years ago?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Exiles was never my brand. I'm sorry, I don't really get down with the alternate reality girls like that.
Okay. I mean, I don't either, but I do remember reading a couple issues of that back in the day and saying like, "Oh, it was fine." I know there's like a really hardcore Exiles fandom out there.
Yes, there
So,
is. Yeah, I feel like that's
and
kind of like Blink's brand, right?
yeah, she was in that, and she was fun. So I really like how they like did her teleporting abilities. It's like the javelins. I thought that was like a really niche trick.
Yeah, that's cool. It really separates her from everybody else that can kind of do this
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but Sunfire, he has a really like kind of a big connection with Apocalypse. There was a story, the
Hmm.
12, back in the day that where Apocalypse was trying to rise to power, and he got like these 12 very powerful mutants, and of course, my girl was one of them, Polaris. But Sunfire was one as well. And later on, after he ends up being resurrected by Apocalypse, and the reason he needed to get resurrected was because he got his legs chopped off. He was actually a part of this like villainous group that needed to. He was basically being blackmailed to be a part of this villainous group to get the bonding process for adamantium.
Hmm.
And the person who was using him was Darkwind, who was Lady Deathstrike's dad. Long story short, that brought him into Deathstrike, and Deathstrike like chopped his legs off.
So
And
I distinctly remember like the era of Sunspot with no legs.
yeah,
And I never knew how he lost his legs. I just remember like one day, like I opened up a comic book and there was Shiro. Where he was like strapped up to something and he was like didn't have his legs. It's like, what is going on? I was like, what happened to this man?
yeah, Lady Deathstrike did that. They were fighting, and it really goes to show you just how like vulnerable mutants still really are. Like even though they have these like big flashy powers,
Yeah.
they can still be sliced up.
And then didn't
So
Rogue steal his powers
yeah,
for
you know
a
how she
bit
do.
too?
So like she had lost her powers from Carol, and because Shiro was dying basically from after having his legs cut off, I think they had to kind of like he was in a critical condition.
Mm-hmm.
So he told Rogue, you know, if you are gonna be out there fighting or whatever, just take my abilities. So she did the same thing to him as she did to Carol, and she had his powers for a while. For a while, actually.
I remember it because it was a part of Milligan's X-Men. I want to say.
Yeah, she had those powers. So yeah, she had those abilities for a while. I don't really know actually how she lost them.
I think they just stopped one day. Like I would be honest with you, but I feel like that's how it typically happens with like those powers that she's taken and had for a long time. It's just
Hmm.
kind of like one day somebody's like, all right, they're gone.
Some writer was like, I want to take her back to the 90s. And
Mm. That jacket, it's iconic.
yeah. Um, but after that happened, he was basically resurrected by Apocalypse, and he had this kind of cool costume that I liked. People may remember
It
it
was
from
hot.
the X-Men Legends 2 game. He had it in there as well. And Apocalypse uh, revived
That,
him to become one of his four horsemen.
that's actually his Age of Apocalypse look,
Oh
like the
yeah,
comic book.
that
Yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah,
sense.
too. And like it was
Apocalypse
just
was like, oh, it's hot.
yeah, it was like it's hot. Let's
Back
bring it
in
on in.
it. I feel like Apocalypse revived him and was like, I like that look on you, so we doing this one more time. And made him a horseman, and he was able to get his powers back and stuff. And after that ended, he ended up losing his powers. I'm sorry, no, he kept his powers after the Apocalypse thing. He got like down on his luck basically. He almost joined X Factor. This was X Factor while I was a part of Serval Industries. That was actually like the last issue of that run. Sunfire appeared and he was like, actually I want to join the group. And at the time it made sense that he would want to join Polaris and Gambit because they were also the other two horsemen of Apocalypse at that time. They have really
I don't
like
remember that. I might go back and read that then. I didn't even remember that he came in at the end.
yeah, right at the end, like that last issue before the series was canceled, he came over. He wanted to join the group.
Mm.
But then that book was canceled, and after that, he ended up joining the Avengers, the Uncanny Avengers.
Hmm.
Wolverine came to him and told him that like they were going to be joining that group. But again, while he was on that team, he ended up being taken over by the Apocalypse twins, and he
Hmm.
became another like basically horseman of Apocalypse. He was forced to. I remember he was forced to like keep Banshee like burning. for a while because Banshee was like the zombie thing. It was wild.
Mm,
Yeah.
vaguely
Uh,
remember that.
and now he's been back on Krakoa in this really cool costume I like that he has now. He was voted in. Well, yeah,
He
not
was
voted
voted
in,
in.
but he was voted. He was voted in to the X-Men, and he's currently on the current X-Men run. And it seems as though he might be leaving the team to set up shop on Araco. He's been building this house over there, protecting it from anyone who wants to challenge his space on
Mhm.
Araco. And it looks like he might be setting up shop there next. He wants to see his powers aren't just fire. He
Mhm.
can control this like plasma, and his powers work in space since they don't really need oxygen. So he's thinking like I can go anywhere, and I want to do something next. So his path is pretty open for him. We can pretty
Yeah.
much see wherever he wants to go next. I'm excited for him. Um, yeah, I think he's got like a great background, but I feel like he's just now starting to get more involved with the X-Men anyway, or like in
Mhm.
a book in general. Hard to keep him hot when he wanted to be away,
Yeah, it's so interesting, like how all of those characters in X-Men, it's like they're about to leave already, and
right?
it still feels like we're just kind of getting to know them, and it just makes me think about the way that series is told and how the whole dedicating an issue to like one character, that might not always be the best way to do new teams.
Yeah, yeah. At least in the beginning, it was nice to kind of
Hmm.
do that and really get a feel for who each person was individually. But we probably should have come together as a team much sooner. Um,
Because
they kind
now
of do
what?
that.
Where the gala's about to come in, I think. So a few members have said they're going to leave the team, right?
So
Uh,
far, yeah. Polaris wrote a letter saying that she wanted to go on a vacation after this, and that she wanted to advocate for North Star. Um,
mhm.
who else was thinking? Rogue was probably going to join Mystique and Destiny. Um,
Don't want that either.
Sunfire, like I said, he is going to maybe be setting up shop on Araco or just becoming more
Hmm.
of an explorer or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, and Sync said he wants to leave, but Cyclops said he can't leave yet. So who knows?
Not you, Coon.
So the four, the four of them, they said they might be leaving.
um. Okay. I don't know. I think Dazzler and Firestar are going to be on the next team of X Men, so I'm checking back in. I'm not going to lie to you.
That would be
So
really cool to see. Yeah.
whatever. I'm sorry that Lorna might be leaving because I know you've really been enjoying the X Men era. But I think wherever she goes will be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for her next run too. Same thing with Sunfire. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
him
think that
leaving
I think
X-Men and going to X-Men Run is not a bad move.
it's not at all. I think I personally love Morocco, and I think like it's a cool place for him to be. I also love Otherworld, so him like having that conversation with Storm about leading or like being on a mission to go and rescue Red Root from the Crooked Market in Otherworld is really interesting. I like the aspect that it had about his flower and how it was
Hmm.
mixing with the flowers of Morocco and it was like kind of creating this new thing. I think that's interesting. I personally don't really buy into like Sunfire as a whole. I typically don't really go for the whole hot-headed, arrogant character, like the Namors, the
Yeah,
Sunfire.
yeah.
Like that's not really my groove, but I see the potential in him. I was really into the Age of Apocalypse stuff, obviously because it's like it's Apocalypse, and then I love a villain, and I thought
Hmm.
Sunfire was like a very good villain at that time. I think that a lot of the stuff that his character has dealt with just in terms of like being very loyal to Japan and like trying to find his place as an X-Man and then still kind of feeling like out of sorts with both of those, it made sense for that transition. And like he was manipulated. It was cool. It was good. It was hot. The beat is hot. I don't know what to
Yeah.
say. It was a good
I mean,
story.
that's a good point that you bring up. That's probably why he is like one of. I think he is friends with Lorna, like because they do
Mhm.
share that whole like, you know, I'm supposed to be loyal to this thing, and but I want to do this, and I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to go for myself. Um,
Yeah.
I do think they have really a
Do
cool
you
relationship.
would you like to see more of them together?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they were two of my favorite characters. So on the X run, I would love to see
Yes.
the two of them together. But I do think that their narratives will kind of work together. You know,
How do you
um,
feel? Do you? Well, let me. I guess this is a two-parter. Do you feel like they've had like significant interaction in this current X-Men run, and if
No.
okay, well, I guess, what would you like to kind of see from them? What would you have liked to see from them, or what would you want to see from them going forward if they
I
were to
would
interact?
like I would like to see more just interactions in general and them talking about whatever and just seeing their personalities kind of bounce off of each other and further establish like who each character is.
Yeah,
Um, we know how powerful they both are. They did work in tandem as far as like using their powers together. You know, I love a force field energy blast combo. Always a
yeah.
big fan of those. And we saw some of that in X-Men. So it's always
Hmm.
cool to see their powers together, but I need a little bit more than just that. I would like to see their personalities kind of
Yeah,
see with
I
each
can
other.
see that.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't need them to be a couple.
yeah, because you know the girls love to ship somebody.
Yeah.
But what do you like? Do you? I know again, Sunfire is a character who hasn't really been around too much, but he's been around enough. Do you have anything that you consider essential Sunfire reading?
um, that's a fair question. Honestly, definitely giant sized that first issue. I think you really get to see exactly who Sunfire is in that
Hmm.
first issue. And I think they even did a recoloring of it or redrawing of it recently too. So if you want anyone wants more of a like a more current art. Um, the era of him, I didn't mind his Uncanny Avengers stuff.
Okay, I
He was
forgot he
pretty
was
good
on
over
that
there.
team.
Yeah, he was only on it in the beginning until the Apocalypse War. Then after that, he left.
Okay,
Um, I definitely would recommend that as well as the era of him as like a horseman of apocalypse. He really kind of like
mm,
talked about like he was following apocalypse because he just wanted to like get back into the groove, like getting into something,
yeah.
and really standing for something. So
What do you, or do you have like a favorite feat, or like the thing that if you wanted to show somebody like this is Sunfire's like power, like this is what he
yeah,
does?
yeah. Um, ooh, man, I really did like his most recent stuff when he just like burned everything in Lorna's force field. That was really cool against that annihilation wave. That was dope. Um, mm, I mean, I also do want to bring up him in the X-Men Legends game. I did really like him a lot in
Okay,
that.
okay.
That was dope. Um,
That was a good moment for him. That was a good game though.
yeah, it was. I remember he had this like healing radiation thing that he could do with his powers and stuff, which I thought were really cool. Um, Yeah, and also a lot of his earlier stuff where he was fighting, doing just random missions and stuff. Like he was in the Contest of Champions. He used to fight like Namor a few times. I think that was one of the first villains he ever fought was Namor. And just any of those kind of like random missions back then. He used to fight the Hand with Gambit. So any of those kind of like
Okay.
there was a lot of the
He's
stuff
got a
in
lot of history
Wolverine.
with Gambit too. That's crazy.
Yeah, Wolverine and Gambit I think are his closest like male friends.
Oh wow. I
Yeah.
would not have guessed that at all.
Yeah. They're just
Okay.
always around each other, you know?
Okay. That's cool. Well, I mean, maybe Wolverine. Wolverine's friends with everybody. But
Right.
the Gambit thing, and now I think about it, like every time I'm thinking about Shiro, Gambit's around some way.
Hmm.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Good for them. Would
I think they have
you
like a little fun relationship.
so obviously like a lot of the characters from Giant Size have been considered classic X-Men characters. A lot of times when you think about them, you think of them like if there was to be an X-Men game, do you see Sunfire being one of those like classic characters people think about to be put in it?
Definitely.
Okay.
He's one of the bigger elemental characters I think that they have on the X-Men. There aren't too
Hmm.
many other like fire kind of big characters like that.
That is true.
Sure you've got the magmas, but or maybe even
Nobody's checking for
Firestar.
that.
Right. Right. But like when it comes to like being an X-Men character, that's like
I
his brand.
always, I just always think it's interesting because I think again you're correct in that he's one of the bigger elemental characters, but I look at someone like him and also someone like Pyro,
Hmm.
and I think they can kind of obviously they occupy two very different spaces, but like in terms of just getting down to the nitty gritty, like they make fire,
Mm.
and I always think about like who would you put first in like your game or your TV show or something like that? Are you like when you get somebody who wants to see that power? Like, am I going for the pyro first, or am I taking Sunfire?
Probably Pyro. Pyro got a little fire form,
Does
you
it?
know, a little visual. Yeah, he can like set himself on fire and stuff.
Oh,
His son.
who want to do that?
That's cool. Why not?
I don't really see it for the fire girls too much. Fire is like a very hard elemental power for me. I think it just
Really?
feels
Is it too
destructive.
destructive?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, and I honestly, I think when it comes to the elemental characters, I think fire is the one that always gets like picked first because it seems very exciting. It's like you said, it's a visual. Think of Johnny Storm, Human Torch, something like that.
hmm
But like once you start thinking about it, like in general, like fire feels very destructive. Like, oh, you setting everything on fire.
Yeah. That reminds me of one of the probably saddest and realest story Johnny Storm stories was back in the Burn Run. There was a kid who idolized Johnny Storm and he like set himself on fire to be like him. And Johnny Storm had to like deal with that. The Burn Run is fantastic. A Fantastic
What?
Four. We put them through it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like he had them deal with like being popular and being like,
Uh-huh.
superheroes, but like this was his kid who like he thought Human Torch was his favorite character, so he like lit himself.
God dang. Okay. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like,
The fire
it's
can be very destructive, yes.
it's a
And those
little
characters
dangerous.
can be hard to like send out on missions because truly, who is he gonna fight?
Yeah. Damn, that's probably why Firebird doesn't come back.
No.
Mm,
Who's she gonna fight? Who's she setting on fire?
I know.
That's
Everybody.
why I be saying, that's why I be saying you gotta get more of these like super powered villains for the girls to fight. Like otherwise, she can't fight a bunch of ninjas. She gonna burn them all.
That's what Jason Aaron is doing.
I would know.
You can find out. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't know why I can't really tap into that. I think it's the team.
It's got. Yeah, I get that.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
back to Sunfire. I think that he's been having a really hot moment right now on the X-Men. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited for what's next for him. I really hope he doesn't get shelved. Like I said, I love his. I don't always love the arrogant characters, but I do like a character with a little bit of, you know,
Right.
attitude, a little
I,
bite. And
when
his solar fire is really cool.
okay, when he leaves the X-Men, or if he leaves the X-Men, excuse me, to do this Araco thing, would you like this costume that he's wearing now to carry over, or something new?
Um, I'm fine with this carrying over for right now.
Mm-hmm.
If he is joining a new team, then definitely give him something new. But I
Mm-hmm.
do like this costume enough for it to start to become like a.
How do you feel about his original, like the koi costume, Japanese sun? Because I know like a lot of people love that. That's considered like a super hot design.
I always thought it was just okay. I wasn't the biggest fan of the mask.
I like the mask.
I
Let me
don't
hold
think
on.
it's
Let me
the
look at it
the
really
mask.
quick.
The Sunfire mask. It's iconic, and no one else has that. So you got to give that hit to him. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm looking at it. Wait, what are these cars? Apparently, there's a car called Sunfire.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's hot. I'm sorry.
I do like the costume. I just wasn't the biggest fan of the mask.
No, I love the mask. It's ridiculous.
It is.
I love it. It's like a fish. It's a koi fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love koi. So like secretly, I love koi. It's like my biggest dream is when I get a big house, I want a koi pond.
I feel like that's always something drug dealers have. like
I
like mob bosses.
know, right? What
All right,
about?
so let's take a break before I find out what's going on with this him and his mic.
That "you just made it up" meme like works for everything.
It does, doesn't it? You just made that up.
And then it's like funny because I don't know if you've ever paid attention to it, but as Candy's saying it, like Portia's nodding and she's like, because it's like whatever she said before, she was standing in it. She was like,
she's like,
she was
I know what I said.
I'm gonna say, it's like you just made that up.
It's a classic. All right, y'all. Welcome back. Okay, so this week we won't really be doing a relaunch section. And yeah, we gotta take a little break for that for a second. But we do have something planned for next week, and we'll be doing a new reread.
A very exciting reread, I might add. We will be doing the first 6 issues of the Moon Knight run from 2014. This actually comes from Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey. This is the run that created the Mr. Knight suit that you guys will be seeing in the Moon Knight series that starts later this month. And so those first 6 issues are kind of just condensed, like one and done type of stories, but they really set the foundation and the tone for, like, honestly, what has become the current Moon Knight iteration. And it's just amazing. The run itself is very long because a couple of people came and took on after him, but the first 6 issues are just strictly Ellis and Shalvey, and we're going to experience those together. So if you have Marvel Unlimited, get those ready. If you don't, you can go to Comixology and try and figure out how to buy it from there. I don't know. That place is
yeah, check that out. I'm excited for this. I've never read it before, but I do find Moon Knight's like visual. He's really cool. I do like when he pops up. So
and like truly,
I know it better give because people
let me
go
tell
up
you
to the
something.
whole.
Like, let me tell you something. Not only does it debut Mr. Knight, which is like super amazing and fantastic, and that suit is hot, but it's like you talk about how you want the action and you want the girls to fight.
Yes.
Like,
okay.
Moon Knight is beating up. Okay. Like.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm actually really excited for this.
Okay, this is gonna be fun. I'm excited for it. So yeah, check us out next week. We'll be talking about that reread. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the show. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us wherever you catch a podcast. We really appreciate all the love and support out there. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can send us an email at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lights, and there is an underscore at the end.
Boom. All right, let's get up out of here, and we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.